students, myself Dr. Kamlesh Gakhar, Professor in Economics from Institute of Management Studies and Research, Maharishi Dayanand University, Rohtak. After having discussed national income in detail, in today's lecture, I am going to tell you about the aggregate demand or aggregate expenditure, which is a very important determinant of national income. Now, objective of this lecture is to enable you to understand what is aggregate demand, why does aggregate demand slopes downward, difference between a change in aggregate demand and a change in quantity demanded of real GDP, and factors affecting change in aggregate demand. So, this lecture will cover the meaning of aggregate demand, causes of downward sloping aggregate demand curve, what is the difference of change in quantity demanded and change in aggregate demand, and factors which can bring change in aggregate demand. Aggregate demand refers to the demand side of the economy. It refers to the quantity demanded of goods and services at various price levels, ceteris paribus. Ceteris paribus means other things remaining the same. There are many factors which affect the aggregate demand, like incomes of the people, taste and preferences, population of the country, but here we are taking them to be constant. That is the meaning of ceteris paribus, so that we can find out what is the relationship between price level and aggregate quantity demanded of real GDP. An aggregate demand curve shows the inverse relationship between price level and quantity demanded of real GDP. As the price level falls, quantity demanded of real GDP rises, and when the price level rises, quantity demanded of real GDP falls. This can be shown in the figure. In figure 1, on x axis we have shown real GDP, that is Q. On y axis we have shown the price level. When the price level is OP1, quantity demanded of real GDP is OQ1, and when the price level falls to OP2, quantity demanded of real GDP increases to OQ2. So, aggregate demand curve, which is by joining the points A and B, so that is sloping downward, that is showing the inverse relationship between price and quantity demanded of real GDP. Now, why does the demand curve or this aggregate demand curve slopes downward, or what are the causes of downward sloping aggregate demand curve? Number one reason is the real balance effect. Whenever the prices fall, the real value of the monetary wealth increases. At lower prices, we can buy more goods and services. Purchasing power of the money with the public rises on account of decline in price level. They become wealthier and demand more quantity of real GDP. Second is the interest rate effect. When the price level falls, purchasing power of money with the people rises. To buy the same bundle of goods and services, they have to spend less. Their savings increase. With rise in savings, supply of credit rises, and this leads to fall in the interest rate. And when interest rate falls, this raises the demand for loans for buying various goods and services in the economy. This results in increase in the aggregate demand. So you see that with fall in prices, how the increased supply of savings results in fall in the interest rate, and with fall in interest rate, people want to take more loans for making consumption or for making investments. So that is why total aggregate demand rises with fall in price level. Another reason is the international trade effect. Suppose the price level falls in Indian economy. So Indian goods will become cheaper than the foreign goods. As a result, Indians and foreigners start buying more of Indian goods. So the quantity demanded of real GDP increases because of the international trade effect also. So till now we have discussed what is aggregate demand, why does aggregate demand curve slope downward, and we have seen the three reasons for falling demand curve. They are real balance effect, interest rate effect, and international trade effect. Now we should also know what is the difference between change in quantity demanded of real GDP and change in aggregate demand. Change in quantity demanded of real GDP happens due to change in the price level. When the price level falls, aggregate demand increases, and when price level rises, it falls. So this change in quantity demanded of real GDP is because of change in the price level alone, and other factors are being ignored. This can be shown in the figure. Just like the earlier diagram, we have shown the quantity demanded of real GDP on x-axis, price level is shown on y-axis. AD is the aggregate demand curve which is sloping downward. Now we are looking at the effect of price level on aggregate demand. When the price level is OP1, quantity demanded of real GDP is OQ1, and when the price level falls to OP2, quantity demanded has increased to OQ2. So there is a movement of on the demand curve from point A to point B. This movement is due to change in the price level, and this is known as change in quantity demanded of real GDP. And in the second diagram, we have shown how there is change in the aggregate demand. This change in aggregate demand is because of other factors. It is not due to change in price. Supposing the population of the country rises, or incomes of the people increase, or there is change in taste and preferences of the people, then what happens? We have shown quantity demanded of real GDP on x-axis and price level is shown on y-axis. AD is the original demand curve. Now with the rise in incomes or with rise in population, at the same price people are willing to buy more of the commodities and services. So that will shift the aggregate demand curve to the right, and now we have the new aggregate demand curve, that is AD1. So that there is a shift in the aggregate demand curve. While in the change in quantity demanded there was no shift, there was just a movement from one point to the other on the same demand curve. When there is decrease in population or decrease in incomes of the people, then people start buying less at the same price. Now because they have less money income with them, they will buy less amount of goods and services. So at the same price aggregate demand comes down and we get a new aggregate demand curve that has shifted to the left. Now it is aggregate demand curve AD2. So this was about what is the difference between change in quantity demanded of real GDP and the change in aggregate demand curve. From these two figures, it must have been clear to you that change in quantity demanded of real GDP takes place on the same demand curve, while the change in aggregate demand leads to the shift in aggregate demand curve to the right when there is increase in demand and to the left when there is decrease in aggregate demand. And change in quantity demanded was the result of change in prices alone, and the change in aggregate demand is actually the result of other factors. It has nothing to do with the price level. Now we will see what are the components of spending or what is the aggregate demand. Aggregate demand is equal to C plus I plus G plus exports minus imports. C stands for consumption, I is for investment, G is the government expenditure, EX stands for exports and IM stands for imports. Aggregate demand rises due to rise in consumption, investment, government expenditure and exports, and due to fall in the imports. And aggregate demand falls when C, I, G and exports decrease and imports rise. So there is shift in the aggregate demand because of any of these components. Now what are the factors affecting consumption? They will affect the aggregate demand also. Factors affecting consumption are wealth, expectations about future prices and income, interest rate and income tax. Wealth is a very important determinant of consumption. Increase in wealth makes persons financially secure. They spend more on goods and services, and increased consumption leads to rise in the aggregate demand and it shifts to the right. You must have seen that the person who are more wealthy, they spend more on goods and services. Now if wealth rises, consumption rises and this leads to increase in aggregate demand. If wealth falls, consumption falls and it leads to fall in the aggregate demand also. Now what is the effect of expectations about future prices and income? We don't only buy goods on the basis of the present prices, we also take into consideration what is going to be the price in future. If the people expect future prices to increase, they will buy more, consumption will increase. Why? Because they think that in the future prices will rise, so they start buying more today. This leads to increased consumption and aggregate demand rises. If the expected future prices are going to fall, then they will buy more in the future, because they would not like to buy today, they will postpone their consumption. So consumption falls and aggregate demand also falls. Similarly, expected future income also affects the consumption. If you are expecting that in future your income will go on increasing, what happens? You start buying more goods and services because you know that you will go on getting more and more income. So with increase in expected future income, consumption increases and along with it aggregate demand also rises. On the other hand, if you expect that in the near future you are going to lose your job or your incomes will go on falling, then naturally you would spend less in the present because you would like to save for future. So, in case of falling expected future income, what happens? Consumption decreases and aggregate demand also falls. Then interest rate also affects the consumption. As interest rate rises, monthly payments linked with the borrowing increase and people are left with less income for consumption. You must have seen that people buy many durable goods by borrowing from the banks. So, whenever the rate of interest rises, they have to pay more to the banks to return the money. So, what happens? That they would like to consume less or they will be left with less income for their consumption and aggregate demand will fall. On the other hand, if the rate of interest falls, then they are willing to buy more and more goods and this leads to rise in aggregate consumption, and with rise in consumption aggregate demand rises and it shifts to the right. Income tax also affects the consumption. You know, people have to pay taxes on their salaries. As the income tax rises, disposable income with the people falls. This reduces their consumption, leading to fall in aggregate demand. A decrease in income tax brings the opposite result. When you have to pay low taxes, then naturally you will be left with more disposable income, and with more incomes people like to spend more, so consumption rises and aggregate demand also increases. Till now we have discussed difference between a change in aggregate demand and a change in quantity demanded of real GDP. We have also seen what are the factors affecting change in consumption, that is wealth, expectations about future prices and income, interest rate and income tax. How the investment is affected and that leads to change in the aggregate demand. Factors which bring change in investment are interest rate, expectations about future sales and business taxes. Now, how the interest rate affects investment? Business firms take loans for making investments. When the rate of interest rises, they take less loans for investments. So, when investment decrease, naturally the aggregate demand will also fall. But when the rate of interest has come down or it has been decreased, the cost of given investment project falls and businessmen at that time take more loans to make more investment in various projects, and when investments rise, this would lead to rise in the aggregate demand in the economy. So, interest rate changes bring changes in the investment, leading to change in the aggregate demand. Expectations about future sales also affect the investments. Business firms make investments to sell their produce in the market. When they hope to sell more in the future, they make more investments, which results in increase in the aggregate demand. But when they are doubtful or when they are not sure whether they will be able to sell more in the market or not, at that time they make less investments and aggregate demand also falls. So, expectations about the future sales is also one of the determinants of investment, leading to change in the aggregate demand. Business taxes. Business taxes affect the profits of the business firms. When business taxes increase, profits of the business firms fall, and when their profits fall, they would not like to make more investments, rather they will reduce the investment. So aggregate demand falls in that case. But in the case of decrease in the business taxes, then the business people expect that they will be getting more profits, and they are induced to make more investments. So increased investments lead to rise in aggregate demand. So you can see in the economy that whenever government increases the excise duty or custom duties or sales tax, etc., so this affects the business firms and they change their investments accordingly. If the taxes are reduced, they will make more investments, and if taxes are increased, they will make less investments. Now, the net exports is the other component of aggregate demand. So, we will see what affects the net exports. Net exports is exports minus imports of the country. So, this is affected by foreign real national income and exchange rate. Now, foreign real national income affects the exports and imports of a country. Real income of the other country is real foreign national income. If the real national income of the foreign countries rises, they will buy more of Indian goods and services. Actually, imports are a function of the income. So, when incomes in the foreign countries rise, their imports will increase, and their imports are our exports. So, thus Indian exports rise, ceteris paribus. So, as net exports increase, aggregate demand rises, and we know that whenever aggregate demand rises, it will shift to the right. Another factor affecting the net exports is the exchange rate. Now, you should know what is the exchange rate. Exchange rate is the price of one currency in terms of an other currency. So, when you say what is the value of dollar in terms of rupees, or what is the value of pounds in terms of rupees, that is the exchange rate. And with the change in the exchange rates, there is appreciation and depreciation of the currency. How does it take place? For example, $1 is equal to rupees 70. This is the exchange rate. A currency appreciates in value if more of the foreign currency is needed to buy it. A currency is depreciated when more of it is needed to buy a foreign currency. If price of $1 becomes equal to rupees 75, this implies that dollar has appreciated, because now we have to pay more in terms of rupees for the same dollar. So, it has appreciated, and rupee has depreciated. Now, depreciation of a currency makes foreign goods more expensive. For example, when the value of a dollar rises from rupees 70 to rupees 75, we know that rupee has depreciated. Now, Indians will have to pay more for the imports from US. For a commodity priced $1, earlier they had to pay rupees 70, but now they have to pay rupees 75. So, they have to pay 5 rupees extra for the same commodity. So, imports become costlier, they become expensive. So, this decreases the imports of the country. Here we are taking the case of India. Indian goods will become cheaper for US people because of the depreciation of Indian currency. Now foreigners will have to pay less. Earlier for the commodity worth rupees 70, they had to pay $1. Now for the commodity worth rupees 75, again they have to pay $1. So this becomes cheaper for them. So they will buy more from us. So in this case, exports increase, imports fall. So net exports will rise and ultimately aggregate demand rises. And exactly opposite happens when the appreciation of a currency takes place. For example, now I take that the value of dollar changes from $1 is equal to rupees 70 to $1 is equal to rupees 60. Now our rupee has appreciated and dollar has depreciated. So American goods will become cheaper. So exports of America will increase and imports of India will rise, because we will find their goods cheaper. So we will import more and our exports will become costlier. So exactly opposite will happen in this case. Our exports would fall and imports will rise, leading to deficit in trade balance as well as fall in aggregate demand. So when there is a fall in net exports, aggregate demand decreases. So dear students, in this lecture we have seen what is aggregate demand and why does it slope downward, why we buy more at lower prices and less at higher prices, and the reasons were real balance effect, interest rate effect and international trade effect. Then we did what is the difference between change in aggregate demand and change in quantity demanded of real GDP. Change in aggregate demand takes place because of the other factors and change in quantity demanded takes place because of the change in price. We also talked of factors affecting change in aggregate demand. So all the factors which affect consumption, which are wealth, expectations about future prices and income, interest rate, income tax, and factors affecting investment, interest rate, expectations about future sales and business taxes, and factors affecting net exports were foreign real national income and exchange rate. So if all these factors change, they will bring change in the aggregate demand, and this may shift to the right or to the left depending upon the situation. In the next lecture, I will tell you about what is aggregate supply and short run equilibrium through aggregate demand and aggregate supply. Thank you.